In this video, we will study about pedigree charts. Pedigree charts are one of the most feared and most difficult topics in genetics, but in this video, I will try to show you simple step-by-step method to identify between autosomal dominant, autosomal recessive, sex-linked traits, so you can confidently solve any pedigree questions. So first of all, let's understand what pedigree chart is. Pedigree chart is a family tree diagram which is used to visually map the genetic traits. So mainly it is a kind of diagram or a flow chart where we can see and find out whether the individuals are affected by a genetic trait or they are normal, and then we can trace the family history and the connections. These charts are also used in research where we can understand common chronic conditions an individual is suffering from and whether those conditions are influenced by genes or by environment. And then it is also used in genetic counseling. So when we look at a trait, we assess the risk for any inherited disorders that the next generation might carry. So mainly these charts are to study all these aspects. So let us first understand various elements of these pedigree charts. So first of all, if there is a circle, then it is a female. If there is a square, that is a male. If circle is not shaded or the square is not shaded, then these are unaffected individuals. Unaffected means they do not have that particular genetic disorder. So these are unaffected individuals. If these individuals are marked like this, means they are shaded, it means these individuals are affected. This female and this male, they are affected. So either we use the term affected or we can say the genetic trait is expressed. So they show the genetic trait or the genetic disorder. So they are called affected individuals. If they are marked half, it means they are carriers. Carriers means they are heterozygous. And what do you mean by heterozygous? Heterozygous, when we say it means because there are two copies of the chromosome. So one of the copies, they have mutated gene. So that is why they carry it, the mutated gene, but they are not affected. Now let's understand the basics of pedigree charts. Now this is a female and this is a male. When they are joined together, this line is known as marriage line or line of marriage or coupling line. It means both this male and the female, they are joined together and they will reproduce. So this line is known as the line of descent. And the next line, this horizontal line, is the line of siblings where they will have all children. So they have, suppose, 3 kids, 2 boys and 2 girls and 1 boy. This is known as generation 1 and this is known as generation 2. If suppose this is affected, if it is shaded, it means this is affected. And if suppose we mark one of these children also. Now let's understand all the different traits. Dominant. Whenever we look at a pedigree chart, we should always first of all see that particular genetic trait, is it skipped in different generations or is the trait seen in every generation. Now here when we look at this pedigree chart where we are just seeing 2 generations, one more thing, in generation of 1 this is called individual 1, this is called individual 2. Generation 2, this is called individual 1, 2, 3. That's how they are marked. So in this, we see that in generation 1 and generation 2, the traits can be seen in both the generations. It means it is a dominant trait. Dominant trait, the traits are not skipped. It means we can see the trait in every generation. So that is how we see the dominant trait. The next one is a recessive trait. What is a recessive trait? Recessive trait is when the disorder is skipped. It means we do not see them in every generation. So let's make a pedigree chart and understand that. So here is a female, marriage line, male, line of descent, sibling line, one girl, and let's make 2 boys. And if we say she's affected and none of her children are affected. So we see in generation 1 the trait can be seen, but in generation 2 the trait is not seen. It means this is a recessive trait. Recessive trait, the traits are skipped. In generations. So here we can see the trait is skipped. Now let us understand what is autosomal. Autosomal, we all know that we have 23 pairs of chromosomes. Out of 23 pairs, 22 pairs are autosomes and 1 pair is sex chromosome. So if the mutated gene is present on the autosome, it means it's not the sex specific, it can be a boy or a girl, then it is an autosomal disorder. In autosomal trait, the disorder is seen equally in males and females. So suppose we take this example, second one. Here in the generation 1, the mother is affected. In generation 2, 1 girl and boy are affected. Suppose we are just, for this example, we are taking the second figure to understand whether it is autosomal. So here we can see that in generation 2, boys and girls both are affected. If we are looking at that, then it means it is autosomal disorder, where boys and girls are equally affected. Now let's see the sex linked. Sex linked disorders, when we talk of sex linked, we know that there are 2 types of chromosomes, X chromosome and Y chromosome. But mainly we focus on X chromosome because X chromosome is a long chromosome. There are many genes present on it and many genes mutate and produce different kinds of disorders. So that is why the main focus remains on X-linked disorders. So when we talk of X-linked, sex-linked, then we are mainly talking about X-linked disorders. And here males are affected more. Are more affected. And if it is asked why males are more affected, because males have XY chromosome. They just have 1 X chromosome, and that is why mainly when the mutated gene is present on the X chromosome, then that 1 X chromosome contains that mutated gene. It does not have another normal X chromosome to mask it, and that is why the males show the disorder. Whereas in females, they have 2 X chromosomes. So if one of the chromosome is affected, the other normal chromosome is present, and that is why usually females are carriers. So when we are talking about sex linked disorders, we are mainly talking about X-linked disorders where males are affected more. So if we are looking at a chart and we find that the males are more affected, then we can say for sure that this is a sex-linked trait. So let's go back. A dominant trait is the one in which the traits are not skipped in any generation. It means they are seen in every generation. Then that is a dominant trait. Recessive is when the generations are skipped. They do not show the trait in every generation. Autosomal is when the males and females are equally affected. And sex-linked are when males are more affected than females. So now let's study one pedigree chart. So first of all, when we look at a pedigree chart, first of all, we should mark the generations. So here we can see there have shown 3 generations, 1, 2, and 3. There is affected female, normal male, and she has 3 children here, 1 normal female, affected male, and affected female. So first of all this we'll study later, but first of all we see that there are 3 generations, and first step is to see whether the disorder is seen in every generation or is it being skipped. So we can see it is seen in first, in second, and in third. It means it is a dominant trait. So first step is to actually see whether the trait is seen in every generation or is it being skipped. If it is present in every generation, it is dominant. If it is skipped, then it is recessive. So this is dominant. Now we have to find out whether it is autosomal or sex-linked. So autosomal is when males and females are equally affected. So here we can see there is here a girl, then there is boy, girl. The boys and girls are equally affected. It means it is autosomal. So this is an autosomal dominant trait. So by this pedigree chart, we can easily understand this. But suppose if they ask, find out the genotype of the mother and the father, the first generation. So how to find out? Now because we know that the trait is dominant, and if we consider that this is some F disease, and we want to write the genotype, because it is dominant, it can be either FF if they are homozygous, or it can be F small f. This could be the genotype. Now for this mother, either she is capital FF or small ff. But if suppose she is homozygous dominant, then this daughter cannot be normal, because she will also pass that dominant allele to this daughter and she will be also affected. But this daughter is normal. That is why, what is the genotype of the mother? F small f. She is heterozygous. And what is the genotype of the father? Naturally, the father is normal, and it is a dominant disorder. So his genotype is homozygous recessive here. So I hope you have understood. Whenever you look at a chart, first of all, you have to see, first step is whether it is present in every generation or it is skipped. Then you have to see whether boys and girls are equally affected, then it is autosomal. If they are not, more boys are affected, then it is a sex-linked disorder, mainly X-linked. So I hope you have understood this topic. If you have, then comment yes, and you can write a topic which you want to understand, so that I can post the next video on that particular topic. Thanks for watching. Do not